Everyone, I hope you're all really well. So I wasn't sure what to film. I've been really struggling with ideas of content recently. I don't know if it's kind of COVID related or what exactly, but I can't seem to sort of think of things to film. So let me know what you would like to see. What direction do you want this channel to go in, kind of thing, because at the moment I just feel it's a bit all over the place, and I want to start doing kind of more like home content and that kind of thing, but I don't know, I'm not at the same stage as maybe some other people are, where, like, you know, they're renovating houses and stuff. My house is a rented house. Do you see what I mean? That kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know, we'll see. But I wanted to come on here today and talk to you about something that I've kind of touched on here recently, and I've touched on Instagram quite a lot as well, and that is to do with new motherhood and mental health. And it's something that I now feel really passionately about and really strongly about, and it's something that I wasn't massively aware of before, to be quite honest. I think I kind of had started to become aware of it when I was pregnant, but it wasn't kind of as obvious. And I felt kind of like compelled to talk about it, basically because the 12-week update video that I did had such lovely comments, and you guys were so sweet, and you were all saying that you thought that I looked great and that I seemed like, you know, I'd taken to motherhood so well, and like I was just doing such a great job, and you were so kind. But it did make me think how things can be perceived on the outside versus how things might be on the inside. And I am not being anything other than kind of like authentic on here, and on Instagram I don't sugarcoat things. I kind of talk about a lot of how I feel about things just as I do, but I definitely felt a little bit like it was something that maybe to you on the outside looked like was a certain way, when in reality it wasn't. And I felt like I needed to talk about it because I would hate for somebody, another new mum, to be sat at home at the moment in these difficult times as they are, and be looking at her feed and see that video pop up and watch it and think, oh, she's doing so great and I'm not. And I know that because that is how I feel 90% of the time. I like to watch kind of content creators at the moment that are people who make slightly different content to me. So I'll watch people like Emily Norris and that kind of thing, who I love their content and they're so great, but they just seem like they have everything so together and they're so organised, and like every single day they check off their checklist, and it just makes you feel like you're not doing a good enough job. And if you're somebody anyway who very much struggles with feeling inferior, feeling like you're not doing a good enough job and all of that kind of thing, which I am massively, I know that comes as a surprise to a lot of people because people say that I come across as being really confident, but I really struggle with that kind of thing. I never feel like I'm doing a good job at anything. My confidence is in all aspects is not great at all. I can get by and it doesn't affect me, kind of thing, and I'm fairly competent, whether it's kind of like with work related things or anything like that, but on the inside I always feel like really unsure of myself, and that has been so massively amplified since having a baby, because it's a really big deal. It's, you know, you look at your child and you are responsible for everything for them from now to eternity, and the pressure of that is enormous. And you might say, well, yeah, like, you know, didn't you know that? But you don't really think about these things in that kind of way until it happens, or at least I didn't. And then all of a sudden you realise that, like, the pressure to get this right is so massive. If you're somebody who puts yourself under that kind of pressure anyway, which I obviously am that person. I'm on like day 3 hair and it's really like fluffy and annoying. I'm massively somebody that puts myself under that kind of pressure anyway, so even more so at the moment, and I really, really do feel like my mental health has massively suffered, because your hormones are all over the place, you're exhausted, and I don't even feel like I can really complain, because Lola isn't a particularly bad sleeper. She's not a fantastic sleeper, like we've not had a through the night sleep yet. I'm praying any day now, because I think that will make so much difference. But she's an okay sleeper, and I definitely have felt the effect that all of this has had on my mental health. And something that people don't talk about a lot as well is that new motherhood, at the best of times, is quite a lonely, isolating experience. And pregnancy is to an extent as well, I have found. Perhaps it depends on your circle, I don't know. But, you know, when you're pregnant, it's like you can say all these little niggles to people. And to be honest, there are a lot of people that are sympathetic and are interested. But most people aren't. It's not interesting. It's not happening to them. It's like, you know, yeah, well, you know, people are pregnant all the time, just go on with it kind of thing. Which when you're pregnant, you do feel like, you know, this is only happening to you. If it's your first pregnancy as well, everything's amplified. That's how I found it anyway. And I had a relatively easy pregnancy as well. Went a bit tits up at the end, but throughout it was generally okay. Bar the sickness, it was really, really genuinely okay. But like, it's something that it occupies such a large portion of your brain that you think that it will do that for other people, and then when it doesn't, you sort of feel a little bit neglected. And I understand that that can come across as being a very self-indulgent thing to say. I can completely understand that, but like, you're growing a human being. It's a big deal. And then, you know, you have a baby that you are looking after 24/7, and it's not like a, you know, well, your baby goes to sleep, then what do you do? It's not like that. First of all, my baby goes to sleep, but there is a level of attention required to her being asleep, because she doesn't stay asleep particularly easily. So there's a lot of patting that has to be done to get her back to sleep when she stirs and it's not ready for her to get up and that kind of thing. So you're constantly on kind of thing. You're not really getting like time off. And it's just a little bit hard sometimes, like, yeah, just sometimes it's a little bit hard. And it's something that I know that I'm not the only one that finds it this way, but, you know, especially at the moment, you know, you want a support system, but obviously at the moment you can't really see people. But even if you can, I think it can still be quite isolating, because especially if you're the first one from like your friend group or your family or anything like that to have a baby, people don't understand. And I'll be the first one to admit that it's not other people's fault. It is something that you can really only properly understand the gravity of it once it happens to you. I think I'm generally a fairly sympathetic person and you know, fairly observant, but you know, I don't think I particularly had many friends that have had babies yet either, so I didn't quite kind of get how they must be feeling in order to check in and that kind of thing. But literally, all you want is for somebody to be like, how are you? Are you doing okay? Because, like, I bet you're knackered. That's literally all you want, and you want to be able to say, oh, I'm so exhausted, you know, blah, 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 this happened, that happened. And to just not feel judged and not feel like, you know, you're moaning, and not to get that kind of, yes, but you know, your baby's so lovely and you're so lucky and all of that kind of thing. And to just feel like you can voice your feelings and you're heard kind of thing. That's all you really want. And more so, I think you want to feel kind of female support, because you think that they will understand how it feels. But I do very, very much think that it's a difficult thing to understand if you haven't been through it, because it's just so all-encompassing and life-changing. And I never ever want to be that person that's like, you don't understand because you're not a mum, because that's patronising and it's just not a very kind thing to say. But it's something that I have definitely become more acutely aware of since becoming a mum, and I know that anyone that I know that's pregnant from now on, I will approach them with so much love and kindness and sympathy, most importantly, because it's really, really, really hard. It's a hard thing, especially in like babyhood days. I think when your babies are small, it's quite hard as well, because you can't entertain them. When you've got a small child, you can sort of play games, you can occupy the time, but with a baby you can't really do very much, so it is quite difficult. That's not to say that it's not like fantastic, because it is at the same time, and it's like, it is that thing of, it's a love that you didn't possibly ever imagine. Like, you know, you love your partner, you love your family, you don't love them like you love your child. It's just an immeasurable kind of love. And if you take anything from this video, what I want you to take is check in on your pregnant friend. Check in on your sister who's got a new baby. Check in on your co-worker who's gone on maternity leave, kind of thing. Because all you want is to just feel a little bit heard, because you do almost feel like once the kind of bubble's dissipated, you're forgotten about, and you're still like, you know, having really long days and a lot on, and it's important to find that support network. I'm not saying that I have, you know, like my partner is supportive, but men, actually, no, let me rephrase that. Let's not be like that. Some men can only do it to a certain degree, and it's not their forte. They do the best that they can do with their limitations, their manly limitations, which, you know, are what they are. I'm only joking, obviously. But yeah, I just want to say that if you are a new mum out there, you are doing so much better than you possibly could imagine that you are, and your baby thinks that you are, and they love you so much. And however it might seem to you, I'm sure on the outside everybody thinks that you're absolutely smashing it, which might be why people don't bother to kind of check in. I don't know. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you want me to talk about more things like this and different topics, stuff like this for these videos, because I don't always have loads of topics to discuss, and I really like discussing these kinds of things. So please let me know if there's things that you want to know, because I would like new ones so we can do these on a regular basis. But I hope you enjoyed this nonetheless. I love you lots, and I will see you soon. Bye.